everyone. Welcome back to the new Auto Insurance 101 video series with AAdvantage Insurance. I'm so glad that you're here, guys. We recorded this video series with you in mind in the hopes that you will get a better understanding of your car insurance policy. That way you know that you've got rock solid coverage and that you know that you're not wasting your hard-earned dollars on paying your insurance. That might not be the best. So let's get started. Okay, so before we get into the coverage part, I'm going to introduce myself. And again, if you've seen the previous videos, which I'll include in a link down below in the description box, if you've seen those videos, you can just kind of skip on through this part. My name is Mary Stover. I am a licensed agent with AAdvantage Insurance Group, and we are an independent insurance agency in the great state of Pennsylvania. I personally have been licensed in insurance for over 17 years, which I find really hard to believe it's been that long, but so I've been around here for a bit. Two things before we get going. One, if you are seeking insurance advice online, please make sure whoever is giving you that advice is a licensed insurance agent. There are some really well-meaning YouTubers out there who are giving insurance advice, and unfortunately they're giving it incorrectly or incompletely. I just want to make sure you guys are not led astray in any way. So that's point number one. Point number two is I mentioned that I am licensed in the state of Pennsylvania. That's the only state that I'm licensed in. So a lot of the coverages that I'm discussing pertain just to Pennsylvania. There might be some similarities if you're watching this and you're coming to us from out of state. There might be some similarities to your insurance. Things might sound familiar, but you're just going to want to make sure that the coverages that I'm explaining, and take them to your local agent and just discuss it with them and see what the differences are so you can have a full understanding of your coverage, okay? All right, let's get going. Okay, today we're going to talk about uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage. This coverage is invaluable. I cannot express enough how important it is to have this coverage on your policy. It is completely optional in the state of Pennsylvania. At AAdvantage Insurance, we always quote it. And we explain why, of course, but we always quote this coverage because it's our job to protect you. We want to make sure that we're doing our job. So this coverage, you can imagine what it does, but I'll explain. It is designed to cover injuries that you sustain from a car accident if they are caused by an uninsured driver, so the person has no insurance, or they have, say, the state minimum, or they have just simply not enough insurance to cover your injuries. So these coverages, as I said, are completely important. You must, you don't have to, but if you want to be smart about your coverage, you need to have them. Now, the lowest coverage limit you can go is $15,000 per person, $30,000 per accident. It's similar to bodily injury liability coverage, which again, watch the liability video. The link is down below, so you can see how that applies. But it's a split limit coverage as well, so it's a per person per accident limit. The lowest you can go is $15,000 per person, $30,000 per accident here. We would recommend at least $100,000 per person, $300,000 per accident. Nothing would suck more than you being injured. You're not at fault for an injury. You are injured by somebody who's driving illegally without insurance, and you experience financial ruin because no one's paying your bills for you. The person responsible is not paying your bills for you. So that's why we recommend at least $100,000 per person of coverage here. You can do something in the state of Pennsylvania called stacking. And what this does is, if you have more than one vehicle on your policy, you can stack your levels of coverage. So for illustration purposes, if you had $100,000 per person of coverage and you had two cars on your policy, then you would actually have $200,000 per person of coverage. And then let's say you add a third vehicle to your policy, then you have $300,000 per person of coverage. So your coverage levels increase the more vehicles you have. There is obviously an added cost to do this, so you really just want to price it both ways and then make a decision from there, okay? Now, some of you may be thinking, well, what if I'm hit by somebody who has no insurance and they damage my vehicle? Where's the coverage for that? Well, I'm really sorry to tell you that there is no such coverage in Pennsylvania. There is no such thing as uninsured property damage coverage. It does exist in other states. I've seen it, but it does not exist here, which is really unfortunate, but I don't make the rules, so here we are. Now, a way that you can protect your vehicle if it's hit by somebody who is uninsured is by purchasing full coverage, particularly the collision portion of full coverage, which we are going to have a video strictly on full coverage here coming out in a bit, so sit tight. Once that video is recorded, I'll also include the link for that as well. But that is the only place you can get coverage for your vehicle if it's damaged by somebody who has no insurance. So this coverage always makes me a little upset. I mean, I'm glad it's there, but nothing frustrates me more than somebody driving illegally without insurance. And you might be wondering, well, how can they drive without insurance? I mean, in order to register your vehicle, you have to have insurance. In order to drive it off the lot, you have to have insurance. Just because it's illegal does not mean people don't do it, as with anything else. So you definitely want to make sure you're protected here. It's super important. That pretty much sums up the uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage. If anybody has any questions, as always, put them in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. Please make sure you're subscribing to our channel. That way you get all the coverage or all the video updates that we're doing. We've got a lot coming out for you here in the near future. Please give me a thumbs up if you like this video. I'd love to see it so I can know if you guys are liking these. And then don't forget to follow us on social media. The links are down below. We're on Instagram and we're on Facebook. And finally, if you haven't gotten the freebie yet, there's a link down below to get that in your inbox. It is 5 mistakes to avoid when shopping car insurance. Please get that in your hands before you shop insurance the next time, okay? All right, guys, thanks so much for joining. I'll see you next time.